Yesterday was an absolutely massive day for Destiny 2. We had the reveal of the Forsaken expansion, as well as a bunch of Year 2 content. However, the downside of all of that stuff is that it's coming all the way in September. That's why in this video we're focusing more on the short term, because with those updates, Bungie also released a brand new updated development roadmap, and detailed some of the specific changes coming in the very soon approaching July update. That's the focus for today's video, so let's get started. What is up, guys? Rick Cacus here, and today we're going to be taking a look at the all-new development roadmap, looking at the content being added coming in the July update and beyond, and talking about said content. So, let's get started here with the aforementioned July update. It's going to be patch 1.2.3 titled Solstice of Heroes, and it launches specifically on July 17th. The first thing being added is the Solstice of Heroes seasonal event, and hence the title. So, the Solstice of Heroes seasonal event. Now, we've had a few seasonal events so far in Destiny 2. We've had the Dawning around Christmas, and more recently, we had Crimson Days. Now, both of these events, in my opinion, were fine. They added a unique flair to the game, they kind of changed how the tower looks, and they offered some neat cosmetic rewards that, me personally, I'm still running around with the Crimson Days exotic sparrow, with the trail of rose petals flying out the back. Like, it's kind of a fun thing. However, when you compare it to the entirety of the free content updates for Destiny, Bungie can definitely do better, and I would definitely point to, well, the Age of Triumph at the end of Destiny 1 was absolutely fantastic, rejuvenating the game entirely, making every single raid relevant. But earlier than that, there was the April update that completely redid the Prison of Elders, added a bunch of new weapons and so on. There has been pretty substantial events within Destiny, and some not so substantial events as well, with the Festival of the Cost event around Halloween the community really backlashed against. So where will the Solstice of Heroes seasonal event fall? Frankly, anywhere in between. It could be absolutely massive, like an April update style of event, or I'm thinking it will be more in line with what we've seen out of the Dawning and Crimson Days, hopefully a little bit better. So expect quite a few cosmetic rewards over tangible rewards like weapons and so on. Expect the tower to change in appearance, and likely some new activities to be thrown into the game as well. Remember, you could utilize snowballs as weapons in strikes and so on with the Dawning, so maybe they'll add something similar to that. Now, moving on from there, we have a very interesting change: 6v6 quick play. That's right, after July 17th, quick play will just naturally be 6v6. And that's quite a big change. I know a lot of people are very much in favor of that, but a lot of people don't want that as well. 6v6 can be very hectic, so the community is likely to be a little bit split here, but thankfully, if you do like that really sweaty 4v4 action, competitive is always there for you. It's not like everything is becoming 6v6, but we'll see how this really impacts the game when it is added. But definitely, if you are a fan of 6v6, this is huge for you. You don't have to wait for Iron Banner anymore. After that, speaking of playlists for PvP, we have Permanent Rumble Playlist. That's right, you will always be able to select Rumble on any given day, no matter what. You don't have to wait for it to rotate in that rotating Crucible playlist. So if you're a Rumble fan, again, fantastic news. Right after that, a very interesting addition: Bounties. Now, in Destiny 1, there was a lot of bounties for a lot of different things. The main Vanguard bounty vendor just had stuff like go and kill certain types of enemies and stuff like that, pretty simplistic, and those bounties upon completion would offer you mainly experience, which you did need definitely back in the day because it helped level up your weapons and armor that you had to do, unlike in Destiny 2 where everything is pre-leveled up essentially. There's no need to do that. But there was so many different bounties because there was bounties associated with all of these different events. There was, like I said, Vanguard bounties, but then there was also Crucible bounties, Prison of Elders bounties, pretty much bounties for every single activity throughout the game. And these bounties did award more than experience sometimes. Like, I'm thinking of the Prison of Elders bounties. Those were very important to do because they awarded faction rep. And I feel like that's the direction that bounties are going to take in Destiny 2, where they will award token bonuses potentially. So your Vanguard bounty, it's going to be maybe a little bit different than a challenge or a little bit more specific, and if you complete it, it'll award you with a bunch of Vanguard tokens, for example. It could also have unique rewards tied to it. Near the end of Destiny 1, there was the Sunrise bounty that you got for completing a Nightfall, and that bounty could award you with a legendary weapon from any part of the game, which was really, really sweet, and it could also give you the exotic Icebreaker sniper rifle, a very good weapon. So we could even see bounty rewards go all the way up to exotics. And speaking of exotics, in the earlier parts of the game, especially with vanilla Destiny, certain exotics like the Thorn, actually, the Pocket Infinity, and so on, were actually acquired through exotic bounties instead of necessarily exotic quests, although these exotic bounties were kind of similar to quests. So, what will Bungie be doing with these bounties? Will we see the return of exotic bounties? We'll just have to wait and see. Moving on from there, we have Expansion 1 and 2 Raid Lair Prestige. That's actually a pretty big deal. Curse of Osiris has gone months and months without having its Raid Lair, the Eater of Worlds, have a prestige version. So, the introduction of these two things, well, firstly, it's needed for us raiders out there who want that extra step in challenge that's just very much looked forward to, but also, every single time we get a prestige raid version or raid layer, presumably, we get new rewards. The prestige Leviathan raid, it offered, although it was just cosmetic rewards, it offered a whole new set of armor and so on. And Bungie has said in the past that they're looking at these endgame content activities, specifically that they're looking at prestige raids to offer more tangible rewards that players actually want to get their hands on. So will we see actual, prestige raid layer exotics or prestige raid layer weapons introduced with this update? I really hope so, and judging from what Bungie has said in the past, that's not so ridiculous to expect. However, at least we are going to get some prestige raid armor sets thrown in there. I should also mention that Bungie talked about radically changing how prestige raids work. Instead of just having different encounters, they said that the actual encounters and the mechanics would stay the same, but you'd have to use a certain loadout. Like, for example, you'd have to use scout rifle and a hand cannon and a sniper rifle, and then you get a certain modifier to go with that loadout. For example, precision shots deal more damage. Now, that was a long time ago. It was hypothetical back then. Are they sticking to that? No one really knows. It's going to be really interesting to see what they do. Moving on from there, some quality of life changes. We have PC Clan text chat. After that, we have Year 1 Triumphs on Bungie.net. Now, Triumphs are being added with the September expansion, and so we're going to be able to look, at least, not necessarily get rewards, but look at all of our Year 1 Triumphs via Bungie.net. Then, after that, we have probably what's going to be one of the most impactful changes of the July update, which is more exotic armor sandbox changes. Bungie did release the first half, essentially, of this update with the last patch at the end of May, and the exotic armor pieces that got updated got some pretty significant updates. The transversive steps for the Warlock are insane now because you automatically reload by just standing in a healing or empowering rift. Like, that is basically completely replacing Titan Rally Barricade in a lot of raid strategies. And in addition to that, the Sunbracers throwing like 6 grenades at a time. There's a lot of fantastic brand new exotic armor changes from that last update, so I'm very excited to see how much more they do with this new update. Alright, now those are all of the changes coming in the July 17th update, but we do have another massive section of the development roadmap, and this is talking about all of the changes coming with the September update that are free for everyone. I think one of the main misunderstandings coming from yesterday's big announcement is that people don't realize how much content they're getting for free. A lot of people, I've seen so many comments saying, the game's not saved, $70 just to fix the game, how ridiculous. Well, firstly, $70 is only if you buy the annual pass for all of year 2 and the Forsaken expansion. So, no one's forcing you to buy both of those things. Just the Forsaken expansion is $40, but if you don't spend an absolute cent, you're still going to get a massively improved game. Take a look at all of the things that are in the development roadmap, again, for every single player, regardless of DLC purchase, coming on September 4th. We have gear collections, so being able to track all of your weapons and armor. After that, we have in-game triumphs. So, like the year 1 triumphs coming in July, but they're actually in the game. You can track them right in your start menu. After that, the weapon slot changes. So the ability to use 3 shotguns at a time, or whatever you want to do, like they talked about in yesterday's update, you can do that regardless of purchasing the expansion. It's available to everyone. Also, weapon randomization is something that's coming universally. It's going to be really interesting to see how they do weapon randomization. There's so many guns in the game right now. Will they all just start dropping randomly? Will I be able to go and get another Uriel's gift, for example, that has new perks? Or will just the new weapons have the randomization? It does seem like it's being applied retroactively. That's the tone I'm getting from Bungie, and that's actually really cool. So the weapons that you thought just one different perk and this thing would be lit, well, now you actually have the chance to make it lit come September. After that, the mod system update. So Bungie talked a little bit about brand new weapon mods that would actually let you customize your gun and change your gun, more than just changing the element on your gun, which it is right now. So that's actually a pretty huge universal change. That, combined with weapon randomization, combined with the weapon slot changes, weapons as a whole are going to be drastically different come September. But also, we just have a bunch of quality of life stuff after that. We have bulk shader deletion. We have a new Crucible mode for everyone. 4 new Crucible maps, again, for everyone. 200 additional vault slots, thank goodness. We have in-game lore changes, we have new bounties, and we have power matters in Iron Banner and Trials. This is a huge thing, actually, that last point, because Iron Banner and Trials was built off the notion in Destiny 1 that the players who are the most dedicated, the most talented, should be able to succeed. So having your power level actually matter was kind of a big thing. It made it so that if you were a really dedicated player, you'd actually be rewarded and you'd get a little bit of an advantage. So seeing that coming back, it is definitely more in line with the Destiny 1 values of those activities. I think a lot of players are going to enjoy that. And so guys, that is it for the video. I hope you enjoyed and found this informative. If you did, please remember to help me out by simply rating and especially sharing this video. If you guys want to see more Destiny 2 content similar to this, don't be afraid to slap that subscribe button. And if you guys want to get in touch with me and keep up to date with the latest channel activity, the best way is to follow me on Twitter at RickCacus. That's linked in the description down below, as is my Twitch channel, which you can also follow. Again, I hope you enjoyed the video, and as always, have a good day.